think will probably join us. All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Wednesday of week 3, and yesterday we actually created some blueprints that had interactivity. If you remember on Monday, we created these tables and showed how we could very easily duplicate them in our level. And if we wanted to change something, for instance, if we didn't like the red on our tabletop, we could just go in here and pick the material, change it to a different color. And with that and having compiling and saving, it changes it everywhere. If any of you have ever done any web design with CSS, it's a similar concept. So you have one master style sheet. All right. So today we're going to create a soccer ball that has physics. And I'm going to share a file with everybody. So if you go to the Zoom chat, you should see a file just now. It's about a little under 2 megabytes called soccerball.glb. Okay. GLB is a 3D model format similar to how JPEG and PNG or PNG are for images. So what I would like for you to do is download that to your computer, and I'll download it as well. Save it here, just overwrite my existing one. Okay, and I'm going to go over to, actually, I'm going to create a new folder. I'll go in my main content folder here. Going to right click and do new folder. I'm going to call this models. Now I'm going to open that up. And I can either, there's 3 ways I could get that model in. I could go into Windows File Explorer to my desktop, and I could just drag it right in there. I can also right click and import to current folder. And there's also this button right up here. So I'll just click that, import, and open. And it's going to ask you a lot of questions and check marks. 99% of the time, all you have to do is just click the blue import button and everything is handled for you. Okay, so it created a new folder called Soccer Ball.
Your Zoom bar is floating right in the middle of the screen.
Oh,
It says
I
you are
don't,
screen sharing, and there
oh,
you go. That's good.
okay. Wait, why is that here? Okay, is that better?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was trying to deal with it yeah, it was really in my way. Okay. So let's go, and it created a materials folder. We remember what materials are, right? Like our tables here have our cylinders have kind of a metal, and then this is a black. So our soccer ball obviously has black and white. So let's go back to the main soccer ball and go to static mesh. And there is our beautiful soccer ball, which I downloaded online, and it is free to use if you ever want to use it in a future project. Okay, so that's all and good. Let's go ahead and save all. File, save all. So now we have a soccer ball, and let's just put it on let's just drag it in, see what happens. I'm just going to literally drag it right into the field, and I'm going to press play. Okay, obviously I can see something right off the bat. It is about as big as my player. So that is not what we want. And I'm guessing if I run into it, it's either going to block me or I'm going to run right through it. Okay, so it blocks me. Okay, so it doesn't have any physics. and it's way too big. But I probably could jump on it. Nope, it's so big I can't even jump on top. Okay, so let's make a mental note of that as we go to create our blueprint. We're gonna size it down in our blueprint. Now, if you created a folder earlier in the week called Blueprints, let's go there. You don't have to create it in those folders. You can put it anywhere, any kind of style or naming system you like, but I'm just going to use Blueprints. I will right click and I'm going to go again to Blueprints class. The type is actor. There's a lot of, as we mentioned before, a lot of different types of blueprints, but actor is the one you'll probably use the most. And let's call this BP Soccer Ball. And there is Trinity. Okay, welcome Trinity. Oh, let me double check that she's in. Okay, cool. All right, so
Hi, I know I just got here. I just want to let you guys know that London is not going to join today because her internet has been like out.
oh,
So,
okay. Well, thank you for the update. I appreciate that. Okay, so we created a blueprint called BP underscore soccer ball. Let's open it up. And remember, we have our components that we could add. If we wanted to add a sphere, we could, but we're not going to because we have our own soccer ball we're going to add. Over here will be the details, and then in this tab, event graph is where we do our coding. All right, so first things first, let's make sure we're at the root level here, BP soccer ball or whatever you named it. And we will click add, and we're going to add a static mesh. And just in terms of terminology, a mesh is a 3D object. So, and we have several in our scenes that we created from basic geometry, but this is one that's a little fancier because it's got materials already built into it. So I will click on that. And there's nothing here right now because we have not selected anything. We have not told it what mesh to use. So over here, let's make sure we expand our static mesh. It'll be empty. It'll say none. Let's click here, and I'm going to type soccer. You could also scroll, but as your projects get bigger and bigger, and this one's already getting kind of big, you'll see that sometimes it's easier just to do this. And let's see, was it this one? Yes. Okay. So we can see it's huge, right? Just like it was at our level. So anybody want to take a guess of what we might scale it down to?
Maybe like 0.1 or 2.
I think that's a great, yeah. So again, we'll click on the, or make sure it's locked, and we'll do let's do 0.2 to start with. Compile, save. And I don't know if I've told you guys how you do this magic trick here, but if you click left mouse click on the tab, hold, and drag, you can dock this up here with your other stuff, which is very handy. This table here that we worked on, we don't need that, so I'll close that. Gonna save everything up. I'm gonna take this out. Remember, this is just the mesh. It's not the blueprint. So delete that. And let's drag this one in here. And that's already looking like it's going to be a lot more realistic. So let's press play. And we'll just kind of, yeah, I think it's good. Good call, Mark. All right. So, but again, We can't do anything. It's basically like a big old brick that's just sitting there, although we can jump on it now. Whee! Um, so we still have some work to do, but hey, we got a nice soccer ball in our level. It looks good, especially for free. And yeah, it's sized appropriately. So let me stop there, save up again. And we're going to go back to our soccer ball and we're going to change a couple things. So I'm not going to need this variable tab over here. I'm not going to need the transform because it looks good. So I'll just kind of collapse these. The mesh is fine. The materials are fine. Actually, if you wanted to, you could change the materials again there and have like a half pink soccer ball to let you know that's there. I'll change this back. Okay. All right. So the section we're going to work on for the next 15 or so minutes is the physics section. So let's go ahead and click this simulate physics. And what this is going to do is give our ball some life to make it act like it would on Earth, especially with this enable gravity here. So we'll compile and save that. Let's give that a whirl. See what happens here. There's the ball. I'm going to run up to it. And that's looking pretty decent. Not bad. Okay. Now, let me try another thing. For those of you who are doing this, does yours behave in the same way that mine does? Kind of?
Kind of.
Okay. Good. Well, we can fine tune it a little bit. So let's go back to our physics and we are going to go through some of these settings here. So mass is how much it weighs, and a actual soccer ball weighs 0.45 kilograms. So if we wanted to make it a little more realistic, we could do 0.45. Linear damping. That is the air resistance that opposes motion. So if your linear damping was 0, then your ball would just roll forever. And if it was 1, it would stop immediately. In fact, let's see if we can see that. We'll set that to 1, hit compile and save, press play, see what happens when we collide. Not too bad. But see how it looks like it's skating here. It's not really moving until I move away. I think we'll go back and we'll set that back to 0.2 is kind of a realistic for like a soccer ball. And angular damping is how much the spin reduces over time. So if we set that to 1, compile, save, and test. I know these are very kind of small, subtle differences that you don't always see. But I do need to fix that skating issue. Okay. So I'll come back here and I'll set that to, I'm going to set this to 0.01. Okay. Awesome. Compile and save. And let's see if we can try to get our soccer ball into the goal. So, especially with these little dummy characters here, this should be interesting. We don't really have a kick mechanic yet, but here we go. Kick it through there. Awesome. Get it back out of there. Oh, I'm behind the net. And let's see if we can do it on the other goal. You can see that once you get some inertia going with the ball, it starts to go a little faster. There you can see that spinning that I was talking about. So that's probably too much spin for a soccer ball. And the important thing to remember is that all these systems kind of work together. The velocity, the dampening. So tweaking one usually means you have to tweak the other one as well. And you just continually tweak it. Electronic Arts, EA Sports, who I worked for many years ago, has an entire team that just works on ball physics and tweaking it to make it as realistic as possible. All right, looking good. We'll save that. Let's go ahead and put a couple up in our level. Just going to drag a few more out here. Okay, that's looking good. Save all. Okay. So we should have several soccer balls we can kind of kick around. Nice, that's looking good. Be a fun little mini game to see if you could kick the ball on that platform. Anybody have any questions so far on the ball physics? Okay, cool. Now, one thing I have noticed is it's hard for me to see. I feel like my player is too big on the screen. So I can't see the ball as well. I have to there's no zoom either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix that real quick. As we mentioned yesterday, the player character has their own blueprint as well. And that is in the template that we downloaded when we started our project. So we're going to go to our third person folder. That's where all the template and blueprint stuff that came with this starter asset is located. And we're going to go into the blueprint folder here. And we're going to click on BP third person character. This is our character's blueprint. Okay. So look at all this code. We don't have to worry about that. But I want to go here to the viewport. And yours might look a little different because I added a box collider here to help with the collision with the soccer ball. But honestly, I didn't feel like it was really any difference. But in any case, let's say I wanted to, well, what if we wanted to add another component here? What if we wanted to give our player, oh, not here, move that up here. Bear with me just a sec. I kind of got this wrong. So I added a sphere and it kind of janked up the scale. So let me just reset that. Okay, I'm going to move it here. And I know this looks really dumb, but I'm just trying to illustrate okay. So if we compile and save that, now when I go play, I should have a big old sphere for my head. So that's a way that you can add things to the character. Like you can add specific clothing. Later on in the course, we'll actually swap out this sci-fi figure for a realistic soccer player. Okay, but for right now, I want to show you the camera. So the camera is right behind our player. If you click on the follow camera in the selector, or even just click on it, the blue thing here. Okay, So let's say we pulled this back about twice as much and compiled and saved. And I'll go through that again. So we're in our third person character. Here's the camera that's tracking us. It's like from behind and kind of at the waistline level. I would say, what happened if I would move this back all the way here? Let's take a look at that. So now we see we're zoomed out, which I think is going to be a little easier for us to control the soccer ball because I felt like the other one was too close. But another thing I might want to do is change the rotation of this camera. Maybe put it up in the sky a little bit. So what do you guys think we would do to accomplish that?
Pull the blur up.
Yep. Pull the blue one up. Compile. Save. And let's take a look at that. Okay. That looks good, but I'm seeing a lot of empty space. And again, I want to think about this from the gamer's perspective. So it's nice that I got these beautiful skies and stadium, but I feel like I need to be seeing a little bit more of my player. So the last thing we're going to do, oh, that's the soccer ball. We're going to go and just like you can with objects, we're going to rotate this guy. So I'm going to select that and rotate and have it look a little closer to the ground. And and now that I've done that, I probably need, if I'm going to move this closer, I need to do it that way and that way. Okay. And I will compile and save that. And yeah, that's looking a lot better. Obviously, if you were making a game that you were going to share with others, you would want to have camera settings because some people like a really up close view. Some people like a far away view. You try to tweak what you think is going to be the settings that most people will want to use, and then just kind of build off of there. Okay. So let's also think about, well, how does a first person deal work? Like a first person game. And that's pretty much this is what they do here. They'll have a mannequin like this, but you will only see the arms, and the arms will usually have a weapon or some kind of item in them. But if we were to move it here in front of our player entirely and compile and save, and we press play, then we get a first person view. So we still see our shadow. That's kind of cool, but obviously from a gameplay perspective, this wouldn't be a whole lot of fun because it's really hard to see the ball. Even though, woot, I just scored. And it went through the net. That's funny. Okay. So let me reset that. Do a bunch of Control Z's, which is how you go back. We just test it one more time, make sure everything's looking good. And we will wrap up for the night, and I'll give you a preview of what we're going to work on tomorrow. So what
I
we're going to
noticed that the Shift Control Z isn't a redo. Is there no redo available?
let's see. How do we redo is Control Y.
Okay.
So what we're going to do tomorrow is we are going to create a timer, and we're going to create a timer, and we're going to say when you get the ball in the goal, you get a point, and we're going to create variables to say how much time do you have and how many goals do you have to get to win the level. So we might say, okay, you get 60 seconds and you have to get 3 into the goal. That might be a little challenging, but that'll show us how we can go back to something we investigated a little yesterday or earlier this week about setting up logic and code that says, okay, when that ball collides with that net, give us a point and track that so that we know if we then score again, we add to whatever our current score is. All right, let me stop my share and I'll stop our recording.